Our first question is about university bills, and it's specifically for people who have fellowships. The question is, for fellowship holders where the fellowship covers the full tuition, they want to know, is it automatically credited to offset the balance? In particular, this person says that their fellowship covers 50% of the mandatory fees, and they want to know how that's credited.
The credits from your fellowship, probably from grad college, will be a credit on your bill. There'll be 2 credits, one for the full amount of the tuition, if that's what your agreement is, and another credit for 50% of the mandatory fees.
All right. Let's see here. Our next question is about insurance. Somebody wants to know if they either lose their insurance card or don't get it in time to see the doctor, can they still go to the doctor?
Yes, you can. Sometimes they might require to know your policy number before they'll allow you to make an appointment or be seen. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a card and you need to visit the doctor, just to call our office, and we may be able to help connect you with a card in time for your visit.
All right. Our next question, somebody wants to know how they can give their parents the ability to manage finances for them.
You would want to do that through a guest account. So there is a document on the billing office website for how to invite a guest account user. And through that, you would assign access, rights, and privileges. I would recommend in your case, if you want to give your parents full access, then they would be able to make payment toward your U-bill, review your U-bill, receive the monthly email notification that the bill is available, etc. So you want to do that through the guest account.
All right, great. Another insurance question. They want to know how much it will cost if they want to have insurance both for themselves and for a spouse. And they also want to know if that insurance works in other states and cities.
So for the SHIP plan, yes, it is worldwide coverage, so you can seek care here in the United States and other states you may visit, as well as internationally. We do ask that you try to visit Blue Cross Blue Shield providers, as they will be the most cost-effective providers in terms of the services they offer. In regard to rates for covering a spouse, I don't know that I have those with me at this time. However, I would encourage you to visit our website, as that information is available on our website. It will give you the monthly cost for covering a spouse for both SHIP and grad care, as well as dental.
Okay. This is a kind of an interesting question. And I'm not sure, I suppose this is better for billing. Someone wants to know if they would be better off opening up a bank account with a local bank or a national bank.
Honestly, that choice is yours. But if you were open with a local bank here in town, then you would have the option to walk in and get assistance from them. But people have open bank accounts in the United States either way, and all you really need is your bank account number and routing number in order to set that up on MyUI to make payments from your US-based bank account.
Another fellowship question. They just want to know what mandatory fees includes and how that will be billed and paid.
There are a variety of mandatory fees included in student tuition. It's things like a technology fee, a recreation services fee, student health and wellness fee. You can see a full list of those actually on the registrar's office website. It will be billed all at once with your tuition and mandatory fees will appear together on your August U-bill. Did I miss another part?
Another U-bill question right away. If parents send money to cover the U-bill in one big lump sum, but they don't give enough, so they contribute a large payment before the semester begins, and it turns out that that's not enough, what will the problems be for registering the next semester?
You'll want to review your U-bill each month and make sure you're covering at least the minimum due. So if you notice in August that you don't have enough to cover your costs for the semester, you'd still have about a month for your parents to send another transfer through. As far as registering for the upcoming semester, that wouldn't take place until November for the spring. So you'd have a couple of months to get that taken care of.
Another insurance question. When people are traveling around the US, if they don't have their insurance card, how can they get reimbursed by SHIP?
Well, a claim will need to be filed to the insurance plan so that the services are paid for you and you don't need to pay out of your pocket. So again, if you plan on traveling and you don't have your insurance card, I would encourage you before you leave to contact our office and we can help you, whether it's providing you with an electronic copy so you can maybe have a picture on your phone so that you always have that with you. But if for some reason you did pay out of your pocket, I would just, again, encourage you to contact our office afterwards and we can walk you through what you need to do.
Okay. Another billing question. Do payments for the U-bill have to come from the student's account or can it come from a parent's account?
Payments can come from the parent's account if your parents have a US-based bank account or if they're submitting through Flywire.
This question is kind of for both groups. If somebody has a fellowship, but they're applying for health insurance, and their fellowship includes a health insurance allowance, how do they know how to apply or how that's calculated? What do students who have fellowships do for getting their health insurance?
Well, you would need to enroll online in MyUI. No matter, I guess, it doesn't matter how your insurance will be paid for. And then I would just encourage you to contact our office directly, and we can work through how that fellowship payment and stuff would work. But again, to be enrolled, you need to complete that enrollment first in MyUI, and then we can take a look at your situation and talk about how those payments will be made.
Another good question here. How does somebody know if they're going to be billed out-of-state or in-state tuition?
That is a good question. Students who are billed in-state tuition are residents of the state of Iowa. So international students are billed the out-of-state rate.
I suppose I'll take on this one here. Somebody asked if grad residents pay an in-state resident tuition, and that's going to depend on whether or not you're getting some sort of assistantship from the graduate college or not. If you're being given an assistantship, then you would be charged the resident tuition rate. If you are not, if you don't have any kind of assistantship, then it would be the out-of-state tuition rate. I'm not sure if our presenters will be able to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. How does somebody calculate the tax on their fellowship? No? That's going to be a really specific question, so that's something that we're not going to be able to answer right now. But after you get here, if you need to set up a meeting to figure those things out, you can work with a tax advisor to do that, and they'd be able to help you out with that. That's a highly technical question that we just aren't going to be able to answer right now.
They may be also able to go to the payroll office website to see if they get their question answered there. They have a lot of good information out there.
And the payroll office, we can share a link in the chat function, or if you email us at isss-orientation@uiowa.edu, we'll be able to send you that link. Is it the responsibility of the student to pay for tuition fees if they've been offered a graduate assistantship or fellowship? Or does the department have to pay those things?
This will not be a complete and satisfactory answer for you. It depends on your fellowship or assistantship language, the letter that you've been offered. Some fellowships are paid monthly to the students and not hitting the U-bill, so then it would be your responsibility to make sure that it is paid through the U-bill. Others, as I described earlier, are sent through the billing office that are part of their aid package that we apply to the bill, the tuition and fees portion of it. So your language of your letter offer should give you that information. If not, check with your department to see how that will be processed.
Okay, another billing question. When's the last day to pay the first semester fee?
Our U-bill due date for August is August 28th this semester. As classes start on the 26th, we push the due date back a couple of days.
And if people have a teaching assistantship, does that scholarship amount get credited before the bill, or do they have to pay something before they get their scholarship?
As long as your assistantship job appointment is processed through the HR system by the time the bills are created, your scholarship will be applied to the bill, reducing the amount of out-of-pocket that you owe. If that's not the case, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your department to make sure that your job appointment is being processed timely.
All right, we have a few more questions here. Here's one for benefits. Somebody found out from a friend who's already in the United States about the UI Quick Care, and they want to know if they should use the Quick Care or Student Health, or is it just the same?
They are not the same. So Student Health is available to all students who I believe are enrolled 5 semester hours or greater, and you do pay a Student Health mandatory fee. So some of the services they provide are free of charge to you, and they're not billed to insurance because you are paying that mandatory student health fee. So I would encourage you to first check with Student Health and see if they can offer you the services that you need. But Quick Care is another great option. They're open every day where Student Health is not, so they might be a good backup option if it's past business hours for Student Health and Wellness, or if you're in the downtown area, there's a Quick Care downtown that's easy to access. So I think it just depends on the situation.
Okay, and as our questions are starting to wind down, before I ask a few of the additional ones that we've had, I'd like to thank everybody for attending and encourage you to complete a brief survey. I've just sent the link in the chat function. This just helps us improve our series, so if you can take a moment to fill that out, we'd greatly appreciate it. On with our questions, we've got a good one that just came in. How are tuition fees going to be reflected for an exchange student?
like a reciprocal?
Yes.
A reciprocal exchange student, you should not be billed tuition here at the university. Your home country would be, your home school would be billed your tuition. However, if you're living in the dorms and have a meal plan, you will still have a U-bill for those items. Occasionally, we will see that reciprocal exchange students' tuition appears on the bill for a short period of time. So if that happens, you can contact the International Students Office for assistance.
This question might be for all of us, but I'm going to give the ISSS answer first. This person just isn't in the habit of checking email and wants to know if there's some other way that we can reach out to them. And I'll say that for ISSS, we consider one of your responsibilities as an international student is to check your email once per day. That's just an obligation you have to ensure that you're staying informed about your particular situation. Because if there's an emergency, if there is some problem with your status, email is the route that we are going to use to contact you. And so we do expect you to check your email once per day. I'll ask our presenters if you guys have any additional methods you use or any preferences, or if you guys are also like that.
We typically utilize in the billing office email as communication as well. And I would say that most central offices at the university are the same. That communication would go to your University of Iowa email. So hopefully those communications from central offices wouldn't get lost potentially in your private email. But I agree with Michael that you should be checking your email for those.
And I would concur as well from a benefits standpoint. We will always use email to communicate with you.
Okay. And I'll just say real quickly, you know, one of the things that you can do when you get on campus, you can set up your University of Iowa email so that it comes to your phone as an alert. That way it's not texting, but it will at least be on your phone so that if you need to have that to notify you, you can do that. I think we have time for one more question, and this is a little bit of a long one. So this person hasn't received a formal letter yet, but he was told by his department that he would be offered 3.5 years of funding for a 4-year PhD program. So he wants to know that last half of a year, is that supposed to come at the beginning or at the end?
This will be another unsatisfactory answer. Check with your department. Most I would say are starting at the beginning, and you would have the the half that is not funded at the end of your career here, but check with your department to be sure of that.
I guess we do have time for one more quick question, and that is, how does somebody check their U-bill if they're on a scholarship?
You check your U-bill in the same way regardless of your scholarship status. So you're always going to log into My UI and click on that financial aid and billing section and click on your U-bill from there. We recommend forming a habit of reviewing the U-bill each month, sometime after the first of the month, to ensure everything is as you expect it to be.
All right. And that is the last question we'll have time to answer. We've just got a few more slides to finish up the presentation. I will remind everybody that I have submitted a link in the chat function if you'd like to please fill out a survey for us. That is just a brief little survey. It helps us improve our webinar, and your comments are things that we read and we take into account when we design these webinars for future sessions. If you'd like any contact information, you can find out questions about your pre-arrival checklist by contacting isss-orientation@uiowa.edu. And if you're having any problems downloading forms or you can't move on in the checklist, that is the email address that you should use so that we can figure out what's going on. You can also visit the ISSS website for information for new international students. We have a special webpage just for new international student resources. That is international.uiowa.edu/new-students. And we have several more webinars throughout the summer. Our next one will be on June 14th, Understanding the Orientation Expectations, Responsibilities, and Placement Tests. That's specifically geared toward graduate students. I know today we have both graduate and undergraduate students. And later in June, we'll have international student employment for all international students. And that's the end of our presentation today. I'd like to thank our presenters for being with us, and thank you all for attending. We'll continue to do these webinars, and remember, this webinar will be hosted live this webinar will be posted to our website in a couple of weeks. Thank you all for attending.